Marachi, let's go live. All right. Good morning, everybody, and a very happy thousand morning to you from Nigeria here. And I hope you are doing very well where you are. Thank you so much once again for joining us, and I trust your night was fine and your day was fine if you're in the afternoon already from where your country is. So I'm going to be looking at the chat right now to see who came first. Hi, Jocelyn. Thank you for joining us once again today. Thank you so much, Jocelyn. Jocelyn was the first person to comment in the chat. And so happy to introduce to you Amarachi. Amarachi is going to be our moderator today, right? And we are going to be having a very interesting time to do this very interesting topic together on staying productive online. So do well to tell us how you are. Lina, hi, nice to meet you again. Antonia, nice to meet you once again. I trust your night was well, and I trust all is going well where you are. So once again, it's good to see all of you again, right? My name is Udema Bawensien, and I'm going to be your facilitator for this session. So just the basic ground rules. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, thumbs up button if you are yet to, right? And then hit the share button, copy the link, share, remind a friend so that everybody can join us here while we do this discussion together. And as usual, I'm going to be having a truckload of questions for you, and I expect you ask me back a truckload of questions. Good to see you again, Kelly. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us once again, Kelly, Lina, Antonia, Jocelyn, Isha. I almost missed your name. Thank you so much, Isha, for joining us once again. And please invite somebody to come and join us here as we do this very interesting topic together. Then don't forget that at intervals, you are going to have to take screenshots and share on your social media platforms so that you can tell Google Digital Skills for Africa that you are enjoying the content that is coming up from this place. All right. Juniper, thank you so much for joining us again this morning. I hope which part of Nigeria are you? Wherever you are faring well and you are doing well. So you're going to be looking at um, how you can stay productive online, right? Being productive has been really hampered by the new normal that we've experienced since the COVID came. And we are going to be seeing a couple of tips. We'll be sharing a couple of tips on how you can stay productive, what you can do, how you can do it, and basically just how you can make stay productive while working from home. Thank you so much, Juniper. Thank you, Ajara. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope Ghana is fine today. Okay, so once again, my name is Udemaba Nsien, and I'm going to be your presenter for this particular session. Okay, so thank you so much, everybody that has been joining us since Monday. Today is day 4, right? And today we are going to be having 2 sessions as well. One this morning, which is happening now, and another one by 2 p.m. West African time, right? So for all of you that were consistent, thank you so much. We really appreciate you for always making out time to come learn with us. All right, so I'm going to be jumping over to the presentation proper bit. Meanwhile, as you join in, please remember to say hi to Marachi, who is going to be in the chat section with you to answer your questions. And if you have questions, please don't hold back. If you have any challenges, please don't hold back. And anything that bothers you from this topic or from the topics you've had before, don't hold it back. Just keep it coming, and we'll be happy to help. We'll be happy to assist. All right. So we are going to be doing this presentation in 3 different segments. Now, the first one is going to be, we're going to discuss the items you need to set up your remote office. And then we'll head over to explain the importance of building a productive work environment and top tips you can use to do this. Now, the last part, we are going to help you to manage and maintain your well-being, which is very important for you to be able to be productive. All right. Okay. So this is more like a reminder on the Google, the free bootcamp from Google. You just need to head over to g.co/Hustle Academy. That link is going to be shared in the chats. All right. So do well to apply to the Hustle Academy. Is a whole meal, like I explained earlier. It's going to be you learning everything from marketing to digital marketing to financing to just everything, right? Get to pitch. At the end of the day, they are going to match you to a mentor so that a mentor gets to drill you a little more and fixes you from wherever you lost out from the whole program. So it's a whole meal and it's a very robust kind of program that happens for 1 week, right? So the 1 week is well packed up because Google wants your business to grow and to scale, and it's completely free, right? So you just need to apply and then you're good to go. All right, so I'm going to be asking you questions, like I said. So I'm going to be the first person to ask you before you ask me. Okay, so this is my first question. So, how has COVID-19 impacted your role? How has COVID-19 impacted your role? Hello, Jules Selba from Just Nigeria. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. And remember to hit the thumbs up and the subscribe button if you are yet to turn on the notification bell. Again, if you are yet to. And the share button is there with you again. Please hit it, copy the link, and invite a friend. Please do that for us. All right. So, how has COVID-19 impacted your role? We know that the lockdown came and the lockdown shut down a lot of businesses, a lot of brands, right? I remember one of the big clothing brands in the UK got shut down, right? Because they had a model that did not permit them to operate online. So they were only operating as a physical store. So when COVID-19 came, brands like that lost truckload of billions, and it happened across basically all the brands. The brands that actually made it were the brands that were already online. The likes of Amazon, and his wealth almost tripled within that short space of time, right? The likes of Tesla and all the other online brands that were there to get things done during that period. So I want you to tell me how COVID-19 impacted your role. Did it? I hope you didn't lose your job. But if you lost your job, you let us know because a lot of people lost their jobs actually, right? So people that are always working physical roles, on-site roles, had to start learning how to use digital tools to execute their work, and the ones that couldn't catch up lost their jobs. So it wasn't a really good time for the entire world, right? Because it wasn't just a Nigerian thing, neither was it an African thing, So it was something that was quite terrible. So share with us in the chat how your role got impacted because of the COVID-19. We'll be happy to know, we'll be happy to learn, we'll be happy to see how your role got impacted so that we can maybe give you a pat on the back to be woke. Okay. All right. So while waiting for your responses, I'll just jump back to the presentation. But please, I want us to keep the communication coming. Please don't let me do all the speaking alone. I beg you, don't let me do all the speaking of the English alone. Please do well to drop comments, drop questions for us as we make progress. All right. So let's see the first part of this presentation: how you can set up your remote office. So what is a remote office basically? What is a remote office? So remote office is a work style that allows professionals to work outside of a traditional office environment. It's based on the concept that work does not need to be done in a specific place to be executed successfully. So if you are working from your house, that's automatically a remote office. If you have a co-working space, that's automatically a remote working office. We used to jump to your neighbor's house because it's a little bit more cozy to get your work done. That automatically becomes a remote office. So instead of commuting to an office each day to work, taking on the risks, to get all goals, remote working always allow you to have that flexibility to design your day and get more things done while you still have your life back, right? So it came as a result. It was amplified. That's the word now. It was amplified as a result of when the COVID came and the lockdown was brought in, right? So people had to start switching to working remotely. All right. So where can people basically work remotely? Now, working remotely doesn't necessarily mean that you only work at home. It doesn't just it's not just confined to that. There are lots of ways people can work remotely. So for self-employed people, home office is just what it will be. A home office. You have a space within your house that you can convert to an office. So it could be your coffee shop, could be a coffee shop, working in public spaces like coffee shops, cafes, work. And co-working spaces are a great option for freelancers and remote workers as well. But the fee for a dedicated desk can run into hundreds per month. You understand? So because you need to pay to get that co-working space, it could be a little bit expensive to get it done. But it's one of the means that people get to work, right? And if you do not need to make phone calls, libraries would be a great place for you because most times in good libraries, you have e-libraries. You get to find free internet, you get to find Wi-Fi's, and you get to find lots of tables, you can always juggle up and down, right? So libraries could be one of the places where you get to do your work remotely. But wherever you choose to work, one thing remains very key. That's basically ensuring that you're equipped with the right tools that you need to work effectively. So I'm going to be asking you the second question. What do you need to work remotely? What do you think you need to work remotely? So I asked the first question and I never had any replies. Please keep me busy. Keep Amarachi busy as well. Okay, thank you, Jocelyn. So Jocelyn said it gave me the opportunity for personal growth and development because I was able to learn some tech skills. Oh, wow. Really? So which tech skills did you learn, Jocelyn? Please tell us which of the tech skills you were opportune to learn. Thank you so much for that beautiful response. And Safa Jamal, thank you so much for joining us again from Somalia. I hope Somalia is fine this morning, right? So, Jocelyn, tell us which of the tech skills you actually did learn, right? And Laura, thank you so much once again for joining us from Mozambique. I hope Mozambique is doing you well today. And Jusit said, I didn't lose my job as I work with state organization, but things were difficult as salary was not being paid as at when due, and the little business I did couldn't go out to sell. I couldn't go out to sell. Oh, so sorry, Joseph. What you're saying is what happened to 80% of the population that were affected. Trust me. It was a crazy period especially for families that live from hand to mouth. You need to step out of your house to be able to hustle and get food back on the daily. So you can imagine what happened to some families. So what you're saying is not strange. Uh, I'm sure you are much better now. Thank you so much for sharing, Joseph. And Lina also said, I discovered free online learning and other good opportunities, something that I couldn't have bothered with before because I was always busy. But now I make time for it. Thank you so much, Lina. That was quite an experience and a blessing in disguise, if I may say it that way, and a blessing in disguise that the COVID brought to you, right? So I'm sure you found joy in all the learnings that you are absorbing so far. Okay. Thank you so much, Lina. Thank you so much, Jusit. So Jusit again said, Try use of Facebook to sell, but no sales, but due to lack of right knowledge. Okay, so Joseph, had it been it was now that you met us, maybe we have advised you to jump on Facebook and to get some learnings done. And Jocelyn again, primary needs a laptop. Okay, so it's answering the question we're having now. What do you need to work remotely? A laptop, good and stable internet, and writing accessories. Thank you so much. And food. Very important. How will you be working without food? So the food is very important. If you have food, if you have internet, and you have a good table, I mean, where are you going to? Thank you so much, Jocelyn. That was quite hilarious. Okay, and every other person, please drop us what you feel we will need to work remotely. Yeah, so Juicy said COVID-19 opened eyes to reasons why I need to migrate to skills that enable me work online. Thank you so much, Juicy. Okay, so Jocelyn has given us a hint, a laptop, stable, good internet, writing materials, and food. I needed to stress that. Okay, so let's just write on. So what do you need to work remotely? Basically, will be a dedicated workspace. You know, there are a few elements you need, and top on the list would be a dedicated workspace. Dedicated workspace doesn't necessarily need to be your couch, right? Doesn't necessarily need to be your bed space. Rather, it needs to be that particular space within your premises, within your house, within your room that you've kept separate for work. You need to keep that particular aspect of the house separated for work, dedicated for work. That's why it's called dedicated. You've consecrated it for work. If I use that word. Okay, so again, it's with devices, just like Jocelyn had told us, technology that will help you to connect, collaborate, and work remotely. That is going to be obviously maybe your phone, maybe your laptop, maybe your television, depending on how, if you have a big screen, to run your codes. People love big screens to run their codes and all of that, depending on what you do, actually. So devices will be very, very important. Like, I wouldn't know who's a gadget person here, like me. I love gadgets, so a good laptop, maybe a MacBook, a good tablet, maybe an iPad, right? A good phone, maybe an iPhone, or a high-powered Microsoft or Google Pixel laptop, or any of those very high-powered devices. And more importantly, a stable internet connection will be so create your own workspace. Let's see a couple of ways where you can create your own workspace. So the living room in the bed, it could be very tempting to have a bed space where you just want to go there and relax. Sleep will come. I can promise you that. So you need to get a seat and a table, a set of table and chair where you can relax and so that you don't get to have develop back problems and waist pains. And so you need to also make sure that that space that is comfortable, that space is convenient. Consider your posture, very very important. So if you are picking a seat type, you need to consider the kind of seat you are picking. Seats over to stay alive, to do the work. So if you need to do the work, you need to be healthy. So being healthy will also include you having not having back problems and waist problem because of wrong sitting positions. All right. So it's something we need to consider. Okay. So the physical equipment you might need around your dedicated workspace will basically be the phone to answer calls, to communicate. Most times, most laptops always have a webcam that can tend to angle up user's nostrils, meaning an external camera is always your best bet, right? And then a notebook, a notepad, something you always have, just like Jocelyn earlier said, something you always have to handy to always take notes, to always jot things down, so that times like this that we are teaching, you just need to have a writing part so that you get to jot down some tips and some tricks that we get to share here. So that at the end of the day, if anything misses, if you skip, if you don't get to remember anything, you can always make reference to what you wrote down, right? Okay, then the next one is going to be a stable power source. You need to have a stable power source because it's very, very essential. And it's one of the major challenges in some African countries, like mine, is a big challenge, right? So to be productive, you need a good power source. So it's important that you get a good generating set. Even if you live in an area where there is always light, like I know a good part of Abuja enjoys good supply of light. Same thing with Lagos, right? But there's always one of those times where the whole thing just gets funny. And you can have a blackout for this. It happens, right? So you need to be prepared for those times as well. So get a generating set for backup power source, right? And then if you have a generating set, you may need to think of adding a solar powered device, maybe a solar inverter, so that you can always have your generator charging the inverter, waiting for whenever there won't be lights. You can always have a backup to help you power your devices. Your power banks also is also a good source of power, because you get to have power banks for phones, power banks for laptops, so that it gets to charge your devices and to enable you to do the work you're supposed to do without losing out or losing track on what you're supposed to be doing. All right. So next up is going to be internet connections. So you need to choose the right ISP. It's while it is the cost of data is always on the high side. If you watch a lot of memes on the internet, you find out that data is almost running people poor of late because data has been expensive. Not expensive because the price really increased, but expensive because the consumption has increased. So you need to buy more, right? People are spending more hours now online. And before now, I think like 2017, we had the average screen time per day being 100, and somebody will go to his phone 150 times. But I can tell you that number has doubled as of today. People check their phones at least 300 times a day. So you do it unconsciously, you won't even know, right? So people technically, like speaking, like myself, I don't know if I turn off my internet. I don't know. I sometimes I sleep with the internet on. I wake up with it, and so people are more online now. So it consumes a lot of data. So data is expensive, right? So you need to find a way. As long as far as data is expensive, it's also you also need it for the work. So you get to choose the right ISP. Like from Nigeria here, we have the big guys, MTN, we have Airtel, we have Glo, we have Etisalat. Those are the four major ones. There are other ones, Spectranet and the rest of them, that are doing a good job. But you always need to have at least two of those. As I'm speaking to you now, I'm using at least three different sources. I have one, I have two, I have three. If one fails, one is from an external ISP, one is my MTN, one is my Glo. So if one fails, two will take over. If two fails, three will take over. So you need to have different sources so that you can always alternate, so that at the end of the day, you don't get completely disconnected from what you're supposed to be doing. And importantly, you need to find the right router for what you're doing. That may depend on the brand you want to do it, that you want to use. Plug into Wi-Fi if you need to, right? Or you can use your phone to hotspot. Depending on what you do, you may need to test and compare internet speeds as well. Test and compare internet speeds. If MTN is not working, like yesterday, MTN was almost completely off, but Glow was dead. Glow was dead. MTN was just on the brink of disappearing, right? So you need to compare the speed based on what you do. If you're having a call like this, that is a live session, you need to have a stronger internet, right? So you need to check what is working better at the moment, and then that is the one you get to use. All right. So question So what are the challenges of working remotely? It's very challenging to work remotely. Trust me, it could be working remotely. Uh, okay, so I'm looking at the chat right now. Please do well to um, respond to our questions. So what are the challenges of working remotely? Share with us in the chat what you feel are the challenges of working remotely. Jocelyn and Joseph, okay, two of you have been keeping me company. I'm still waiting for Laura. I'm still waiting for Safa to say something. I'm still waiting for who else is here? Isha. Who else? I'm still waiting for Lena. I'm still waiting for Kelly to say something. So please say something to us. Say something. What are the challenges of working remotely? Jocelyn, I know you've been saying a lot, but you can still say some more so that you can help. Okay, so while waiting for you to drop your responses, I'm just going to go back and continue with the session. Okay, am I good? All right. Okay, so I want to be sure if I'm seeing. Okay, the internet I was speaking about has decided to throw me off. Am I good? Okay. Okay, so we are going to be looking at a few challenges that you might get from working remotely. Couple of challenges. Now, the first on them is going to be loneliness and lack of social interaction, because when you are working from inside your house, it's one of the major drawbacks that remote work gets to impose on people. Because if you are an extrovert, someone that is always outgoing, and then suddenly you are confined into one room, you find it very difficult to be able to switch and welcome that lifestyle you're going to be experiencing. That kind of a social disconnect from what you normally get to do, what you are supposed to be doing, and then you feel very uncomfortable, right? So that is one of the challenges that people that work remotely mostly get. Now the second one is self-discipline. Self-discipline. You need dedication. You need discipline. You need self-control to be able to avoid losing momentum while working from home. Because if you are working from home, a lot of distractions coming. So you don't convince yourself that a single YouTube video during your working hours won't do any harm. You want to give it a try. When you give it a try, you discover that you're jumping from one to the next to the next to the next, and before you know it, you spend the entire day watching YouTube videos. Or maybe if you're a TikTok person, it's even more interesting there, right? So self-discipline needs to be put in check, and is one of the major challenges for working remotely. And no employee benefit is also one of the major challenges, because people, um, remote workers don't get benefits like health insurance or retirement fund for most organizations. Although work at home always gives you the opportunities to, check up yourself and take care of yourself, take care of your family, and all of that, but you may not have all of that health insurance and retirement benefits when you are a remote worker. Okay, and then it's very difficult to switch. It's hard to switch when you work in your office. You are most likely conscious of the closing time, but when you are working from home, there's no closing time. Sometimes you discover that you walk into your personal hours, walk into the midnight. It's difficult to switch off. It's difficult to bring that disconnect at the end of the day. And the next one is missing out, fear of missing out. It's called FOMO, fear of missing out. So working remotely could make you feel left out completely. Maybe occasionally when you miss out on important announcements, things that are happening, important meetings, events in the office, and you most likely be the last person to hear in the office about upcoming events. So you may always have missing out. You may also have that that those times where you get to miss out on a truckload of things. All right. So these challenges may seem very large initially. With time, some getting used to it, you can master them over time. Can master those challenges over time. But let's see the benefits of working from home and how they outweigh the challenges of working from home. All right. So what are the benefits of working remotely? Share with us in the chats benefits of working remotely. So Juice it says some have faced situation of not being paid after working. Okay, that would strongly depend on the organization you are talking about, right? But what we basically were looking at was why people don't get to work, that people don't get to have retirement benefits when they work from home. All right. So, what are the benefits of working? What are the benefits of remote work? Please share with us what you feel are the benefits of remote work. In the chat, share with us in the chat what you feel are the benefits of remote work. So basically, remote work have a couple of benefits, right? And now the first on that list is the flexibility it offers you, because sometimes there are things that you just need to do at home. So you can always juggle up and do those things at home while still doing your work. So whether it's waiting for somebody to come repair your car, fix something in your house, you can still do that while working from home, and it doesn't distract anything. You get to still do your work completely, and there is no commuting. You're not leaving your house to go to anywhere. You are living in a busy town like Lagos, where you need to wake up by 4 a.m. and by maybe at least 5 o'clock, 5:30, you are in a bus heading to work, and you're going to be getting to the office maybe by 8:39, sitting in the bus traffic. Crazy life, right? And then you repeat that same process when you are returning. So sometimes you find a lot of them sleeping inside the bus on going and on coming back. So they have to sleep inside because maybe that is the only time they have to rest. So you save yourself that much stress of doing that early morning rising, doing all the hustle, doing all the juggling around to be able to get things done, to be able to hit the road by 5:30 a.m. To be able to get to work by at least 8:39, which is a crazy kind of lifestyle in my own definition. So you avoid all those commuting and you save yourself the stress, the risk of going on the road, the risk of doing train from wherever you are, right? So commuting is completely cut off, right? And then you have enough spend with your children if you're a family person. You have time to spend with your girlfriend and your boyfriends and your loved ones if you are a single person. And then it's less distracting, So you get some willpower to do some steady routines. You soon learn to avoid being distracted by the TV. You get less distracted by the TV because you get to face your work, right? Yeah, you do lots of home stuff. You can still get to do your laundry while working. In fact, you should find yourself getting more done with work more remotely than the way you get to be done with work when you are working on site, right? And then you have a high morale because remote employees are notably less stressed. They're always less stressed and they always have high morale because they have this comfort that they gain from their private space while they still get their work done. Okay, so those are the few benefits of working remotely for the employees. Then I'm just going to continue. Get to reduce stress, reduce overhead costs, get to reduce overhead running costs, right? You run the cost of securing an office space like major cities in Lagos, in Abuja. It's expensive to get a workspace here. So you cut that cost completely, right? Then you get that greater productivity because you get to gather up and engage workforce. People get to work energetically from wherever they are, compared to all the stress that they incur when they are traveling to work, and then they get to dull up the whole day. So productivity gets increased, and you have access to wider pool of talent. That means that you can always hire somebody in the US. Somebody in the US can hire somebody in Africa, can hire people from everywhere to get their work done for them, not necessarily somebody within the terrain of the locations where they stay. I also have improved employee employment, improved employee retention at the end of the day. So people tend to enjoy working remotely compared to if they have to work on site. So people tend get more relaxed, and people employees get the benefit of having to do the best they can. And so people want to stay with your brand for a longer period of time. That is the retention now. All right, so that's a lot. That's enough from me. So I'm going to be checking out for the set of questions that you've been asking me so far. Yes, traffic is avoided, Chinenye. Thank you. So do you have any questions for me? So if you have questions for me, please let me know in the chats if you have any questions, or I'm just going to just head over and just continue with the presentation. All right. How am I doing so far? So let me know how I'm doing so far in the chats. Am I doing okay, or is something you want me to improve? So tell me. Am I doing okay? I hope you are seeing my screen and you can hear my voice very well. Okay. So let me know in the chats how I'm doing. I want to know how I'm doing before I move on, so that I know I've not gotten you lost. I want to be sure I'm carrying you along. Oh, thank you so much, Jocelyn. Thank you so much. Thank you for your very kind words. Always. Okay, time management. Yes, Laura, thank you so much. You get to manage the time when you work offline. All right, so I'm just going to jump into the second part of the presentation so that we can catch up with our time. So let's see how you can build a productive work environment. So why your work environment is important. It's very important that you have that designated workplace so that you can execute your duties, execute your work properly. Because the quality of your workplace is directly proportional to the quality of the productivity that you're going to be giving out per time. So you need to put some thoughts into how you design your workplace. So you need to get that designated workplace together. Find the right chair, like we earlier mentioned, the right chair that will not give you back trouble, right? And get a filing system that will help you to organize your files and organize your life generally. So get a designated workplace, not your bed, not your couch. Avoid those two places. It's dangerous. And then find the right chair, and then get a good filing system to get your life really organized. So according to research study on the effect of work environment on productivity, workplace distractions cut employee productivity by 40% and increase errors by 27%. Decrease in productivity due to workplace distractions, 40% decrease in productivity due to workplace distractions, and 27% increase in errors. So that is basically trying to explain to you that working offline is very good, because workplace will always bring a lot of distraction. And when you increase your errors, you tend to get the whole thing messed up. So how can you minimize distractions? There are a couple of ways, there are a couple of suggestions you can minimize distractions. Now, the first of them is to let others know your work hours. You need to let people know your work hours. If you are running a kind of training like me, sometimes you get people coming to knock your door. You knock your door, hit your door, so you need to get people to understand that there are sometimes that you work from home and they don't need to come distract you when you're having a live session like this. So most times you need to print, most times I get to print something, come back in 1 hour and paste it on my door. It's funny, right? But it works, right? So you need to let people understand your working hours so that they give you that space and they won't bring those distractions. So, and importantly, you need to do one thing at a time, because by the time you get to bump yourself with the whole activities, you may get overwhelmed, and being overwhelmed is not very good, because it could bring depression. So you need to do one thing at a time, one task at a time. Avoid television and all those household distractions. Even though all those things are available to you, you need to avoid them. You need to avoid your YouTube, you need to avoid your TikTok, avoid your Instagram, except you are going there to work. If you want to just take a pic and come back, that one pic you want to take may take you the whole hour, may take you the whole day. You never can say. So avoid those places. Put away all pets. For people that can't do without pets, I'm not really a pet kind of guy, right? But for people that can't do without pets, you need to keep them one side, right? Where you face your work so that they won't distract you and your errors can be minimized and decreased. And then it's important also that you take regular breaks. At intervals, take a break, walk out, stretch, grab a cup of coffee, and just step out, look at the sun, stretch your eyes, make a call, something. Just take a break so that, again, you won't get overwhelmed. All right, so how can you improve productivity within your teams? So we are going to be looking at a couple of tools on project management. So remote teams need to be able to plan and collaborate on commitments, on deliverables, and tasks. They also need to track. They also need to track the flow of work from start to finish. So that is where we need to lay hold on project variables. You also need to you need to establish logistics, and for team communication, you also need to establish and promote visibility and transparency of all the work you're doing. And then you track the quality and status of the projects as they come using those project management tools like I mentioned. And then more importantly, you also need to identify and address all the bottlenecks and all the blockers. So that is one of the basic ways you can improve productivity within the team. You need to manage the team very well. Again, the next way, so a stat has it here that 70% of workplace mistakes are due to poor communication. So your communication needs to be held high up there. You need to have great communication. After knowing how to manage everybody, manage the project, your communication needs to be top notch. Communication plays a very vital role in the lives of the workplace. So for some good communication comes naturally, but for others, it can be hard to articulate their thoughts and feelings in conversation, and that often leads to conflicts and fundamental errors. So you need to have a proper communication, a proper way of communicating within the team, so that mistakes are being avoided, right? So there are a couple of general communications tools, the likes of Google Hangouts, Slack, HubSpot, Gmail, and all those basic tools that are strong communication tools for businesses. So email is good for formal conversations. Instant messaging platforms, the likes of Slack and Google Hangouts, are used for instant and fast conversations. Collaboration tools also for projects. Slack can also be a collaboration tool as well. So these are a few tools you may need to look out for that can improve communication within the team. Okay, so it's important also that as a remote worker, you set the rules and to communicate effectively. So in order for you to communicate effectively, you need to set some rules and communicate clearly. It needs to be clear. Consider your audience and make sure that your message is appropriate. Make sure your message is broken down in clear terms that everybody can just understand. Not just you speaking all the English in this world. At the end of the day, you're just speaking, nobody's understanding you. So you need to think about the type of message and the context you're going to be sending that message across through, and then respond promptly when there is need for you to respond promptly, right? Whether it's email, whether it's private messages, and all of that. So you set and role model the guidelines available for each team members so that everybody will know what they're supposed to be doing at the time and they'll get it done. All right, so let's look at a few video meetings and call tools. So video meetings and call enable the team to communicate and collaborate in real time. So the likes of Google Meets, the likes of Zoom, the likes of Skype, the likes of WhatsApp. WhatsApp is restricted though, and Microsoft Teams are a few of the most powerful tools that are available today for video conferencing, right? So you get to connect with your teams remotely and improve the level of communication. You boost that collaboration that coexists between the team. So you make use of these tools so that you get to see people's faces, because at the end of the day, seeing their faces could be everything, right? It could be everything. So you need to learn how to use these tools if you are yet to know how to use them. All right. So let's look at each of them one after the other. So Google Meet will always keep your team connected with enterprise grade conferencing tool that is built on Google's robust and secure global infrastructure. Meet is included with G Suite and G Suite for Education. So what that basically means there is Google Meet, personally for me, is my best conferencing tool because it loads faster. It doesn't have too much protocols. The UI is quite simple, right? And then it's compatible with Android. It's compatible with iOS devices, and it's built by Google. And is the technology is on point, and you can always dial in with your phone number if you are in an area where there is no internet connection. And the experience of sharing screen and all other details, managing the team is very well done. So the whole place will look organized if you are using Google Meet. So if you've not tried Google Meet before, is available on your Gmail. It's available as one of the G Suites, one of the tools, one of the apps that are available with that your one Google account. You have your YouTube, Gmail, calendar, uh, just name them: Google Keep, Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Forms. On that your one Gmail is one of the tools that are available on that your G Suite, and also available for G Suite for Education, which is the more robust one for
Hi guys. I'm sorry. Udemy is experiencing some technical issues, so let's just be patient as he sorts that out. Um, so let me just see if I can share my screen while we wait for him to sort out his issues. Give me a second. Share screen. Sorry, just hold on. Yes, stay productive online. Yes. So you are looking at the different tools that you can use to collaborate with your team members. And we on Google Meet. Just hold on. Just hold on. Yeah. Okay. So if you can hear me, please tell me that I'm audible enough. Let me check in the chat section. Please let me know if I'm audible enough and that you can see me. So I know that we are ready to continue with the session. Let me look for your comments in the chat section. Give me a second. All right. So stepping in is Beryl. My name is Beryl. I am from Kenya, right? Nairobi, Kenya. So I'm just here to help. Thank you so much, Jocelyn, for that. Right. Thank you, Jocelyn. Thank you, Amarachi. Thank you so much for that confirmation. So, like you said, um, when you want to collaborate with your team members, so there are different Google tools that you can use. The first tool that you can use is Google Meet, right? For communication. So, for example, you see the way Amarachi is in Benin, and then we have Udeme. Udeme is in Nigeria, and I'm in Kenya. But we are still able to communicate. We are able to have meetings. We are able to have presentations and trainings, and all this has been made possible with Google Meet. So, one of the tools that you can use for communication between your team, among your team members, is Google Meet, right? And then there's also Zoom. I know most people came to learn about the use of Zoom, especially during the COVID period and lockdown, and people had to work from home, but some businesses still had to go on, right? So there's also the option of Zoom. There's the free Zoom that can hold up to 100 people, and you can have meetings on it for up to the 40th minute. But there are options for paying for other packages that you can use to, if you want to have longer meetings, if you want to have webinars that hold up to over 100 people, there's the option of that. So you can look at the different packages that Zoom offers, and see which one works for you and decide on that. All right. All right. And then there's also Microsoft Teams. If you're into Microsoft packages, you can decide on Teams to build communication between your team members. I mean, the best thing with Google Meet and Zoom and Microsoft Teams, you can turn your video on. So it's more or less, it helps with video conferencing. People can make, a what presentations on it. All right, you don't have to have one-on-one or in-person meetings for that. All right, so I think Udeme has sorted his network, so I'll just drop off and he'll come back in. Thank you so much for your patience. Right. Sorry. Okay, he'll just let me know when he gets back. All right, so Skype is also one of I think the first video conferencing tool I personally interacted with was Skype. So I used Skype a lot before I came to know about Google Meet, before I came to know about Zoom. Initially, Zoom wasn't very well known, right? So I think most people, Zoom came about especially during the COVID period, and it surpassed the use of Google Meet, and it surpassed the use of Microsoft Teams, but it depends on the policies that you have for your organization, right? There are some organizations that are strictly like they have a policy. If you want to have meetings, you have it on, say, Microsoft Teams, right? So yeah, I think I'll leave it at that. I've covered enough for the day. You've seen my face enough for the day. Udeme will take over. Okay. Udeme, are you ready? Udeme, you're here with us? Okay.
Yes, yes, I'm ready now. Okay, everybody. So sorry about my internet threw me off. It's one of the things we just barely spoke about. How you should have a strong internet, have internet one, two, three, so that if one throws you, you can always jump to the next and all of that. So I'm back. Thank you so much, Beryl, for standing in briefly. So Beryl just explained the Skype. So I'm going to be going down to how to run effective meetings. So most importantly, you need to get your agenda set up. This will help you to frame the discussion, and the wider sessions will always know what to follow and what not to follow. So you also get to ensure that everybody is on the same page. Importantly, again, you need to consider your tone of voice, because if working remotely, people can always see your body language and know what you're trying to communicate, right? So you get to understand that your tone of voice is important as well. Mhm. And then encourage people to always use their cameras, just like what you're saying right now. So it's important that people get to use their cameras so that you see their face and possibly monitor how they do what they are doing. And be timely. Don't keep people waiting, right? Don't keep people waiting for your meeting simply because you're having a virtual meeting. Something you wouldn't have done if it was an on-site kind of meeting. So a couple of video conferencing etiquettes, and importantly, you need to start by preparing yourself. Prepare yourself as a presenter. Present yourself as who is moderating. Prepare yourself as someone that has something to tell the team. Prepare your words so you don't just wake up and just say things that could maybe damage somebody else's mind, right? And it's important again that you dress appropriately. Don't turn up in sweatpants and a tank top. So dressing appropriately will always help you to have this kind of work mindset. And but you don't need to weapons, right? So that if you mistakenly stand up and your camera is open, the whole world won't view your open, right? So you need to uh, have yourself well dressed, right? And then you consider your lighting as well. You can see my face now, right? You can see it properly because I have a proper lighting here. So you need to have your lighting so that people can get to see your face, and your background too is important. It needs to be top notch. It needs to be a good background. Most times people always prefer the white background to do their things, and your audio too needs to be clear. So most times you hear me asking you, is my audio clear? Is my voice clear? Because I want to be sure that you at the other end, you can hear me very well, so that I won't just be talking to my laptop in front of me without you receiving it at the other end. Okay, so that those are a few etiquettes for video conferencing. So these are top tips for collaborating effectively. Now, the first of them, that you equip your team with the right tools, equip your team with the proper tools they need to use, possibly a PC, internet, maybe lights, and every other thing to make your project management easier by equipping your team. Video call, you can always have the liberty of letting people to get to share their screen if they want to communicate a particular subject matter. And they also encourage collaboration within the various departments and prioritize the company cultures. So that's into tips for collaborating effectively. So final top tips for productivity will be always under communicating, but rather you are actually over communicating. So communicate with your team regularly, keep them in the loop, be disciplined with your work. Remote working is not a vacation, it's not a paid leave. So be disciplined with your work, get to do your work very well when you need to do your work, as of when you need to deliver it, and keep to deadlines, right? And then you have your tools ready for work. Always have your tools, your laptop, always have your power banks ready for work, always have your whatever it is you need, the internet, have a backup always ready for work, and then find your booster and use it. Use what gets you energized. Use what makes you uh, be in the mood of work, and get ready to always deliver the job as of when due. So this is going to be the next pause for question, but I'm not going to be waiting for you to drop questions, please, because we are behind time. So if you have questions, please do well to drop it in the chat. Amarachi is going to be happy to answer to all your questions. Lena, thank you so much. You said Google Meet is the best and free. Unfortunately, you can only accommodate. Yes, that is a problem that Google Meet. If you want to have more people getting accommodated, you need to subscribe to the paid version, which is the one you get from the Google Workspace or Google for Education. All right. So that's for Google. That's what Lena said. So if you have any questions, please do well to drop it in the chat as we go over to the last segment. How you can manage and maintain your well-being. Why is it important to manage your well-being? I'm supposed to ask you that, but I won't be waiting to take that because we are way behind time. So it's important as well that you manage your well-being because you are healthy, you are fit when you are managing your time properly. When your mind is stable, you get to have more productivity given out. It impacts a good well-being will always impact your overall health and also leads to great productivity. Just like we mentioned earlier, your well-being is directly proportional to the productivity that you give out. So you also get to manage your well-being and increase your resilience and also boost your morale level and your happiness to be able to deliver the work on time. So what can you do to manage your well-being? Now, first of them is for you to avoid overworking, take regular breaks. Remember we mentioned that earlier. So set reminders to always take breaks, take a stroll, step out, grab a cup of coffee, just do something. Maybe fly to the moon and come back. Just take a break, basically, right? So be clear with your team when you are leaving. If you are leaving by 9, keep to the 9. You are leaving by 10, keep to 10, right? Stop the work, take a break so that your mind will be at rest for you to do more the next time. Turn off notifications when you are on break. Turn off notifications when you're on break so that notifications will not be a distraction to you. I will not drag you back to work. So you also get to schedule in an activity in like taking a walk, like I mentioned earlier, riding a bike, going to the gym, like my colleague does, going to the gym every day. And so just take that break. You just need that break so that you don't get to overwork yourself. So be ready for the culture shift. Everything is changing, the culture is shifting, and basically, people are no more, a lot of people more appreciate now remote work than on site work. So you need to trust that's your overall performance. Rethink the concept of work, understand your commitments and the benefit you get, and ultimately be patient with people. Learn how to be patient with people. All right, so get to managing your overall well-being. Again, exercise regularly. View your mental health seriously as well as your physical health. It's important that mental health is always at check. It's always under check, so that you don't get to overrun yourself. Check in with your manager or your team regularly to keep tab on what is happening around your space, and then separate your professional life from your personal life. It's important you keep that distance so that you can manage each of them properly and basically create a balance between the both of them. Organize in-person social meetups once in a while to always catch up, so that you ease off a lot of the stress. All right, so I'm gonna be taking a pause, the last one, to answer your questions if you have any. Any questions for me? So if you have any questions, please drop it in the chats. But meanwhile, what are your next steps? What are your next steps? So today is just the beginning of all those sessions, and then we may not always conclude or give you enough of what we're supposed to within the 1 hour that we always have. So it's important that you jump onto this course, learndigital.withgoogle.com/courses, and enjoy yourself here. Take a course and then get a certificate. Get certificates after getting the first one. Get certificates, and then you can get your life better. You can find courses from basically everything. We call this link the Google University. So you find everything from remote work to digital marketing to coding to project management. Everything basically is here. So Marach is going to be sharing that link in the chat. And this is a reminder for the Google Bootcamp to apply to g.co/Hustle Academy. If you own a business, if you own a small business, a medium business, or an NGO and you want it to grow and to scale. So it's going to be a 1 week drilling, right? It's a 1 week drilling for you to be able to gather up every detail from marketing, pitching, and then they'll match you to a mentor where you get to learn from the mentor they're matching you to. All right, so remember to follow Google Digital Skills for Africa on social media platforms, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, twitter.com/digital skills AF, Facebook, same thing, facebook.com/digital skills for Africa, for chat again to see if you have any questions for me. Okay, so Antonia dropped an emoji for me, and Laura dropped an emoji. Thank you so much, Lina, for always checking up, and every other person that is still present on the call. Thank you so much for always stopping by. And we have the next session for 2 p.m. To do well to come back at 2 p.m. and tell somebody to come join us. They will be having how you can manage Google Workspace. And I mentioned Google Workspace several times. So you just come back here at 2 p.m. And that's going to be 2 p.m. West African time, 1 p.m. GMT, and it's going to be 3 p.m. Central African time and 4 p.m. Eastern African time. All right, so see you in 2 hours. Is that 2 hours? Yes, 3 hours, about 3 hours. So thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for sticking through. Thank you for all the engagement. And I love you guys, and I'll see you again in the next 3 hours. Please come back here in 3 hours so that we just conclude it for today. Thank you so much once again, and enjoy the rest of your day or your evening, whichever one applies to where you are.